Welcome back to the Catnip Podcast. My name is Grace and today is Friday, May 11th. I have a lot of knitting for you guys this week, which is super exciting, and I said that before I told you what this podcast is about. So if you are new, this podcast is about knitting and lots of crafty things and books and baking and cats and lots of things that I think would be fun to share on this podcast. So if you are new, thank you so much for checking this podcast out. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back and spending some time with me. I really appreciate it. Like always, all my various social medias will be linked down below on my blog, and if you're on YouTube, it will be in the down bar. There is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Ravelry. I'm most active on Instagram for sure, so if you'd like to follow me on there, that would be wonderful. I have just made my tea and my mug is very hot and I don't know what to do because I don't know if I should set it down or if I should keep holding it or what. I don't know, but it's very warm. Also, I would really like to apologize for last week's episode for multiple things. First of all, that I uploaded it and there was only 19 minutes of the podcast when in actual fact there was over 40 minutes of it. So I don't know what went wrong. I was having iMovie, which is what I use to edit the podcast. I was having some hardcore iMovie struggles last week. If you use iMovie to edit your podcast, if you're a podcaster, you know the struggle. It is rough sometimes. So that was hard, and then I have no idea why, but when I imported the footage from my SD card into my computer, it was super overexposed. So it was way more lighter. It was a lot more lighter than it should have been. So I don't know what the problem was, but I really do apologize for the inconveniences and just the lack of podcast professionalism or whatever. I don't know. Thank you so much for not minding and continuing to watch. I really appreciate it. Thank you for letting me know that there were only 19 minutes of footage there, because some people sent me messages and they were like, "Where's the rest of the podcast?" I wouldn't have known if you hadn't told me, so I really appreciate you sending me messages and letting me know. You guys are wonderful. I also feel like we're very close today. I don't know if that's just me or I don't know. Anyway, the cat is still rolling around on the floor. He is being super cute and he really wants attention. I don't know why. Also, I'm not wearing glasses today. I woke up very early this morning and went and worked out with my husband, which was super fun, which is what we've been doing this week, which is it's wonderful, but also it's very early in the morning. So I just had my contacts in, and once I have them in, I kind of like to keep them in until as long as possible, just because I don't wear them as often. So we have contacts today. Anyway, so this is a very long intro, so we will get back into the flow of things and how they regularly are. Like I said, I do have a lot of knitting to show you, which I'm super excited about. I also have another crafty thing that I get to show you about, which is super exciting. It's a little bit different, or not. I've talked about it before, also I apologize. It's very cloudy, partly cloudy today, and the sun is also very bright, so it will come and go and come and go, and the struggles, which is really not that big of a struggle, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so back to the podcast. Lots of crafty things, lots of fun ahead of us. So I'm going to pick up my very hot mug, which is my new favorite mug, and I will tell you why in just a minute, but let's continue on with the podcast and get into it so we can end this intro. If you'd like to go grab something tasty to drink or something to snack on or something to craft on while we spend a little bit of time together and I show you what I've been working on, you can come back and join me for some crafty chat. This is gonna be very hot. First of all, before we continue into everything, again, I'm wearing my overalls, which I do love, but look at my shirt! It's got little llamas or alpacas on it. Like, how cute is that? And they have, like, little hats on or something. I don't know. They're happy, and I think it's amazing. My mom and I found it at Target, so if you're looking for a llama or an alpaca shirt, go to Target. So if you follow me on Instagram, you probably have seen this mug already, but this past week, I kind of had a rough day on Wednesday, and my mom very nicely offered to hang out and go have lunch, and so we spent some time together, which was super fun. We went to Target, did some shopping, which included this llama shirt and also this beautiful mug that says "Hello Gorgeous" with a bunch of pineapples, which, if you've seen previous episodes, you know that I do like the pineapple and just the general aesthetic of a pineapple, and also the fact that it says "Hello Gorgeous," and it's got like this unfinished thing. It's more rough, and so this is like smooth, but this is like more clay-like. I don't know, does that make sense? It doesn't seem as finished, but I think it's a gorgeous mug. I love it, and it's just a happy memory mug, so yay. We're also getting into our warmer weather months. It has been in the high 80s, low 90s. Next week will probably be all 90s, so it's getting hotter every day, but that's okay. So if my hair changes every so often, if it's this one thing and then this the other, it's because I've been playing with my hair and trying to make it cool but also look cute, because that is always a thing. Anyway, so moving back into the podcast. Also try not to play with my hair too much because I know that can be kind of annoying. So knitting wise, little eyebrow wag there. I got a lot of knitting done this week, but most of this knitting happened at the beginning of the week. Probably it happened from Friday while I was editing the podcast to about Monday night. And the knitting on Monday only happened in the evening because of this other crafty thing that I'm going to show you in a minute, but it's a little bit special and there needs to be a little bit more context with it. So we're going to go over the knitting first. Last week I had a lot of knitting to talk about. Last week I had a tale of knitting woe, which was very sad. Thank you for your kind comments and just general sadness with me. I feel like knitters can relate when a fellow knitter has to frog something that they've spent a lot of time on. There's just general sad camaraderie or whatever. You feel each other's pain, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So I appreciate the warm, happy feelings while I had to frog this particular thing, or a sweater I should say. But I frogged it. I ended up knitting with that same yarn. I do remember someone commented, and I really appreciate this comment, that they suggested that I use the other balls of yarn that I have, so I didn't have to like worry about frogging it or let the yarn take a rest. I completely, like, it left my mind completely, so I do apologize. It's not that I didn't appreciate your comment, because I did. But I did frog this sweater, and then I continued to knit with the same yarn. So there's something about frogging that you have to be in the right mindset. I feel like you have to be like, I'm gonna get this done, it's gonna get done, and I'm gonna cast it on again, and it's gonna be great. Or that was my mindset anyway. So at some point on, I think it was on Sunday afternoon, that I was just like super motivated and was like, I'm gonna frog this right now because it's the end of the week, tomorrow's a Monday, fresh start, you know what, we're just gonna get it done, no big deal, you can cast it on this evening and just get it started because yes. So I did. Also, what was very encouraging is that I was also texting my mom while I was doing this, and that was encouraging. How many times can I say the word encouraging? Also, while I was frogging it, I was listening to the Greatest Showman soundtrack, which I watched we watched for the first time on Friday, I think. This past Friday. Was it really that? No. Maybe it was. I don't know. We watched it recently. Things just blend together and I don't remember when they happened. And that movie just blew me away. So good. So good. And the music, even better. So good. So I've kind of been listening to that nonstop since then, which, no shame, no shame. It's a really good soundtrack. But the music was very, like, motivating and uplifting while I was ripping out all my hard work, especially when it came to mohair and the baubles. Ooh. I also realize I'm talking about this without showing you this, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, I do apologize. I'm gonna get it now, and we can continue this conversation, and you will understand. So I did frog it. I let it sit for a little bit because I was just like coming to terms with the fact that I had frogged this thing, and I needed to find the right needles and all that kind of stuff, figure out, do a little bit more math because there was more math involved because I had to recalculate numbers and all that kind of stuff, you know, do centimeters and all that jazz. But then I cast on that evening. One thing I also did, and I know there was another way to do it, but this was the only way that like seemed most easy and least painful, but I wound the mohair thread and the regular thread. Let's see, can you see that? Cover up my face. Oh, what am I trying to do? I'm sorry, what am I trying to do? It's been a long week, people. So you can see I've wound the mohair thread with the regular thread, yarn, I should say. And because I just made it super easy to frog, because it would have been a pain, even more of a pain to try and wind two different bowls at the same time. That being said, I don't know what it is, but they aren't matching up like they were, so there's like a lot of extra dark purple thread and there's not as much mohair. I don't know what the problem is. I'm just trying to get through the fact that I have to re-knit a sweater. So we're trying to do this as least annoyingly as possible, but it's kind of proving to be a little annoying. But that's okay. You know what? It'll be fine. To quote The Greatest Showman, the quote that is probably one of the most motivating quotes from The Greatest Showman, because there are many, is, "Comfort is the enemy of progress." And if you follow me on Instagram, I did post a picture of this while I was frogging it, and I included that quote because, again, this is not comfortable. This is not comfortable at all. But I have to make progress. You cannot have a sweater without progress, so it's kind of a big portion of making a sweater. So I just had to bite the bullet, and I continue to have to bite the bullet with this massive wad of... Hello, garbage man, I know you're collecting the trash, but I'm recording a podcast and I don't appreciate the noise. This massive wad of stuff. I realize it could be more tangled. It could be so much worse. I also apologize because this piece of hair keeps falling down. So, this is this. Also, not again, this sweater is called Mom's Popcorn Bomber. My mom and I are knitting it together as a knit-along for her birthday. She and I both got the same yarn, or not the same color. She's knitting a navy one. I am knitting a purple one, obviously. We got the yarn from Drops. It's the Nepal, and then their mohair... Kid silk mohair, I think. Something like that. So that's super awesome. The pattern is by a Nordic Knitting Tale. This pattern is not on Ravelry, which is unfortunate, but that is okay. You can buy it on her website. So, exciting. Exciting, exciting. Also, the sweater is a steek sweater. So we will be learning how to steek at some point, which is very exciting. We've also had to learn just... lots of stuff, reading patterns different ways, all that jazz, coming to terms with the fact that you might mess up and knit the wrong size or something like that. So this is a learning sweater. But again, comfort is the enemy of progress. So I cast it on, and goodness gracious, look at me go. I am definitely not where I was last week, and I realize it doesn't really look like much, but I am definitely a good, I don't think I'm halfway with the regular raglan increases, excuse me. But I think I'm very close to halfway, which is super good considering I had to frog the entire thing. And this would definitely be much more farther. I am just stumbling over my words today. I'm sorry. This would be much farther along if I did not have another crafty project that took priority this week, which again I'll talk about in just a minute. But yeah, so here we have these the popcorns or baubles. Let's cover up my face so it will focus on there we go, there you go. So yes, they're super fun. They are so easy to make. It's just the round where you make the baubles is a little bit more time consuming, but that is the case on any patterned round, so there's no big deal. I was knitting it on a size 7. I've gone up to a 10, so. And when I say that, I mean needle size. These are size 10s now, not size 7s. And I also went up to a bigger size, so I am really just, I love it even more now. I feel like I have just put in so much of myself into this sweater that it's gonna be great. I'm very excited about it. I'm much more happy with this fabric now. I realized that, like, I said I was happy with the fabric. And I thought I was when I was on the 7. I thought that's what I wanted. But when I would knit on it for maybe an hour or 30 minutes, my hands would start to hurt, which I should have taken that and I should have, like, acknowledged that was a thing and maybe analyzed what I was doing and maybe thinking that because my hands were hurting it was going to be too small, but I didn't. But now that I'm on the 10 and I'm knitting a bigger size, I am so much more happy and my hands are not hurting. So it's been great because now I know what I'm doing, and now I've, like, because last week I talked about figuring out the pattern. Now I know what the pattern is doing and all this kind of stuff. I can read while I'm knitting it, which is super great. Granted, the increase rounds are a little bit slower because I am trying to read at the same time. And then when I head through the increases, I am not reading. That's okay. You know what? I'm getting reading done, and I love it. So I am super, super happy with this, and hopefully I can get a lot of work on this done this weekend, because I'm trying to figure out what exactly I'm going to be knitting on. Anyway, what am I doing? This will probably help the situation. My younger brother's graduating from Texas A&M, which is super exciting. We will be Aggies together, which is really exciting. He is graduating with a major of computer science. So that is wonderful. We are super excited, and so we're going to celebrate with him this weekend, obviously, because that's what you do with graduation. But for the graduation ceremony, I'm trying to decide what I need to knit, and I'm getting ready to sneeze. Apologies. I'm glad I could hold that together until I finish my sentence. Allergies are so bad right now. So yes, we will be celebrating with him. Graduation ceremony is tomorrow bright and early, and so I'm trying to figure out what knitting I want to bring. I could potentially bring this because it is very easy and I know what I'm doing, and because it is in the science-y college, it will be a long ceremony, which is super fine, which just means more knitting time and hanging out with my family, so that's super cool. But I could also bring other projects that I've been working on that are also super easy and very easy to transport and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, I have to figure that out because we're leaving bright and early tomorrow morning. So fun times. Fun times. Also, I'm sorry, I just brushed the table that you're sitting on. I'm sorry. So yes, this was, again, Mom's Popcorn Bomber by Nordic Knitting Tale. I'm knitting it out of drops. Now we're flying, hopefully. Knock on wood and fingers crossed I won't make another mistake. So hopefully we won't have to rock it again. Tea break. Is this tea cold enough or cool enough now? We don't want it cold. Nobody wants cold tea. Oh, that is the best temperature. Secondly, since I have 3 knitting projects to show you, this got mainly knit on while I was editing last week's podcast and while I was trying to figure out what in the world was wrong with iMovie, because it was just really not having it. It was not happy at all, and there's also the issue of the new version of iMovie, which I have no idea how to use, and that's my fault. Because I am very behind in updating my computer. I just recently updated my computer. I'm sorry, I'll stop playing with my hair. I just recently updated my computer, so it's like up to date for the most part. And so other things updated, including iMovie, and so it was like, I opened it and I was like, ooh, it's the new version of iMovie! I have no idea how to use this! Thankfully, the old version of it was also on my computer, which I don't know why, but I was able to use that. So that's good. I was able to go back to the iMovie that I know and love. Sometimes I don't always love it. Sometimes I really don't like it. But it gets the editing done, and that's all that really matters. So yes, anyway, back to knitting. I knit on this while I was editing last week's podcast and trying to figure out what was wrong. This is the Floats Cowl from Pearl Soho by Jake Canton. I really should remember that name, but I don't. I'm almost done with the first ball. Where are the needles? Here they are. This is knit on a size 7. So yes, last week I showed you this. It was literally probably like that much. Look at it now! I got so much done this week, or on Friday. It goes by very quickly, and it's also super gorgeous. Did I knit on this over the weekend? Oh, I think I did on it on Saturday too, but mainly the big bulk of this got done on Friday. This is the Pearl Soho's, I can never remember the name of the yarn, or the designer, or whatever. Season Alpaca, which is 100% baby alpaca, which is so nice and gorgeous. It does shed a little bit and does get fuzzies in my nose, but that is okay because we're already dealing with allergies, so you just might as well accept it all because it's just gonna happen. So this is what the float side looks like, which I think is very beautiful. That's the float side, and then the other side looks like this, which I think is beautiful. It's just a rib, but because of the float cowl, it kind of emphasizes one of the purl stitches more than the others, which makes it look less, I don't know, it's very hard to describe. It doesn't look like regular ribbing, that's for sure. Because it's not as, like, it's stretchy, but it's not stretchy like regular ribbing. Sorry, this is very technical. It's not as stretchy as regular ribbing. But yeah, so I'm very, very happy with this. As, ooh, I pulled this and that's got cut. The sun comes beaming down and changes the lighting. The color I am using is this beautiful berry, that's showing it pretty well. Very, very, very light purple. It's kind of like a misty purpley gray, which was one of the reasons why last week was so upsetting, was because I was trying to describe the color of this yarn and then I got it to show up nicely and then it was overexposed. So that was frustrating. Anyway, little things. It's super easy to knit. It's literally 2 rows of pattern. It is a free pattern, which is also super exciting. It's very adaptable. I changed the pattern. I didn't cast on as many, I'm sorry, playing with my bangs. I didn't cast on as many stitches as the pattern called for, which I am super happy with. I'm glad I made that decision. And I'm almost done with my first ball. So that is super exciting. I have 3 of them. So I think this will be a very thick and lovely cowl, and it, oh my goodness, it smells incredible. Oh, so good. So my mom has yarn for this as well, so does my sister, because she got this yarn while she was there in New York for a business trip a couple months ago. last month, something like that. So super exciting. I am loving it. I did come across, I did have an issue. I was knitting at some point because as you do, you knit and things happen. And the yarn that I was knitting was like frayed down to like one strand. I have no idea how that happened because I was like, I didn't do anything to cause that, I don't think. Maybe it ran across a zipper and it just kind of broke and I did not pay attention. But it did happen, and so I had to unknit a row and a half in order to go back to that spot to fix it, to prevent everything falling apart, because that would have been very sad and dramatic, especially considering this was my feel better cast on after finding out that I had to frog my sweater. So I'm glad I did it. And that is why I have ends places. So I have ends over here. Why are these ends here? Oh, that was, I don't remember. Anyway, but yes, that's where these ends are from. So that was an issue that I came across in the skein. Again, I don't know if that's my fault. I don't know if that's the skein's fault. But if you're knitting with this yarn, maybe just keep an eye out for that, maybe. But again, I don't know if it was my fault. I'm sorry. So thirdly, knitting-wise, I got a lot of knitting done. Like I said, I've just been a really good, like, beginning of the week knitting, and then I just got really a lot of good crafting done. So if you watched last week's episode, I talked a lot about how there was, I was gonna go see the new Avengers movie, which now I know is called Infinity War. Last week I didn't know what it was called because I'm not into that, or I do enjoy, but I don't know all the ins and outs of, and the details, like titles of movies, in the whole superhero Marvel Avengers world. That being said, it was a great movie. I highly recommend it. It was super funny and it was good. There were lots of like storylines going on, but it was very easy to keep track of them and I enjoyed it. It was also super cool because I knit the entire movie and I got so much done. So last week I said I was going to be bringing my Branches and Buds pullover by Carrie Bostic Hodge, or Hodge, which was another knit along that my mom and I decided to do months and months ago. We were still living in Dallas, so probably November. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. And my mom finished hers and it looks super cute, and I've seen her wear it with super cute outfits and it's just very inspiring to make me want to finish mine. And so I was like, I just had the body. I'm literally just knitting around and round and round and round and round until I have a certain amount of inches, and then I do a couple rows of ribbing, and then I'm done with the body. Anyway, I have to knit the sleeves, but that's the same thing. Like, round and round and round and round. So this was the perfect movie theater knitting. And thankfully my gauge didn't change too much. So, because usually I knit tighter in movie theaters, or in action movies anyway, because it's stressful. Anyway, so I was very smart. I was very proud of myself that I thought to do this. But I somehow managed to find a little piece of yarn in my bag and mark where I started at the beginning of the movie so I could measure how much I knit during the movie, which was awesome. Made me feel really good about myself. So I also knit through a whole ball, started a new ball of Drops Flora. Fun times. This is what the yoke looks like if I didn't show it already. But yeah, so I started here where this little marker is, and I knit all of that, which I now see that on camera and it doesn't look like very much, but it is a lot. Considering, because you're knitting around and around and around and you have a bunch of stitches because it is a body, the body of a sweater, on very small needles. Or not small needles, but like they're smaller needles. Anyway, so I got all that done during one movie. That was so awesome. Yes. So excited. It was also funny because while we were waiting for the credits to go through so we could watch like the little preview thing at the end of all the credits, like I feel like all movies do that now if there's gonna be a second one. There was a kid sitting next to me, I think he was like in high school or something like that, but he turned to me while we were waiting for the preview and he was like, "That is so cool, I saw you knitting during the entire movie, what are you making?" And so I tried to show him the sweater in a dark movie theater, which didn't turn out very well, but he was very nice about it and said that that was very cool. He appreciated my knitting, and I appreciated that, so it's all good. I got so much knitting done. It was great. And then we went to Costco, and that was super awesome, but that has nothing to do with knitting, nor the movie, nor the podcast, so we don't need to talk about going to Costco. So that is it for knitting this week. We're going to go into it's not a new thing. I've talked about this before. I haven't showed you guys this particular thing that I'm about to show you because it is a gift. And I haven't showed you because I know this person who will be receiving this gift watches the podcast. In other words, this person is my mom, which is wonderful. I appreciate that she watches the podcast. So, Mama, if you are watching this podcast and you have not received your Mother's Day gift from me, do not watch from here forward, please. Because I want it to be a surprise. So, I'm going to let you stop the podcast now before anything is spoiled. So, I'll see you later. Bye, Mom! Okay, so people who are not my mom, you get to see what she's getting for Mother's Day. So, if you live in America, you are probably aware that Mother's Day is this weekend. Mother's Day is on May 13th. So that is super exciting. It's fun that graduation and Mother's Day fall on the same weekend thing, so my whole family will be together. We're spending time with my husband's family this evening, which is super exciting. Fun times, fun celebrations are everywhere. So again, Mama, if you're watching, I'm about to show what I'm going to give you, so please don't watch. So the gift from my mom was something that I wanted to give to her for Christmas. I was not able to get it done. I was trying to get it done for her birthday, which was in April. I still didn't get it done. But, dear friends, I got it done last night. Or it's not completely done, but I got most of the work done. So, third time, Ma, if you're still watching. No. Turn it off. Do not spoil the surprise. Okay, so. I think that's just so funny. I'm sorry if you don't think that's funny, but I think that's funny. Anyway, so this is what I have made for my mom for Mother's Day and Christmas and her birthday. It is a cross stitch of teacups and a teapot, a polka dotted teapot and teacups. I'm just so eloquent today. And it says keep calm and drink tea, which is just a good motto to live by. So I am so happy with how this turned out. I got this pattern from someone on Etsy. I will do my best to try and find this person and link her in the show notes, but if not, I do apologize because it was a while ago. But yes, so we have, oh, what am I doing? We have a pink one, we have a yellow one, which is turning up more green, and then we have a blue one, and then we have a couple of green polka dots, and the lid is green. But I like that there's like a solid one with white polka dots, and then there's white ones with the yellow, blue, and pink polka dots. So I'm super excited. I will be finishing this up today because obviously I will be giving this to my mom for Mother's Day, which is this weekend, and I need to find out when we're doing gifts and cards and such. But I am so happy with it, and I feel bad for having not gotten it done for Christmas or her birthday because it's not like a super complicated pattern. There's a lot of like words, block words, lots of lines, lots of just outlining and then kind of filling in. But I've been busy, so that's okay. You know, that happens, life happens. I'm just very, very happy with it, so we will. Obviously, I still need to finish it, and iron it and all that jazz and make it look pretty and make it so this thing is upright. So, Mama, if you have already gotten your gift, now you know what it looks like before it was finished. Woohoo! But yeah, I definitely enjoyed this. I think I will be doing more cross stitching in the future, just because it's very soothing like knitting, but it's also different than knitting. It's nice to do different crafts other than knitting, but it's also like very soothing mentally and just kind of like methodical and all that kind of stuff. So I enjoy it. I still have one more cross stitching gift that needs to be finished and gifted to my mother-in-law. So I think that might turn out to be a birthday gift, but that's okay because her birthday is in August, so there's plenty of time to finish it. These handmade gifts, though, sometimes they're hard to complete, but thankfully I have family that is very, very considerate and very kind about the fact that I don't always get things done on time, and so they're like, it's okay, we appreciate that you're making me something, you're making us something, so just give it to us whenever you're done. And I really, really appreciate that because it's nice. So I don't have any more crafting things. I don't really have any more baking things either, or books, just because I had to spend a lot of time working on this cross stitch because I needed to finish it. But obviously I did, so it's all okay. But I didn't do a whole lot else besides the regular day-to-day things. Crafting wise, that's all I got done. Anyway, so that is all I have for this podcast this week, content wise. This coming week will also be another busy week, so we will see. It's just a busy time. Like I said last week, May is just usually really busy. It's a fun busy, but it still is very busy. So we'll see how my crafting goes. We'll see. I'm getting my hair done next week, so that's exciting. Very exciting indeed. And then my, one of my husband's brothers, one of my brothers-in-law is graduating next week from high school. So that's super exciting. Lots of graduation, lots of celebrations. Happy days. Yay for graduates. If you're graduating or if you have graduated, congratulations, that's super exciting, whether it's from college or high school or master's, getting your master's or whatever. Congratulations, that is super exciting. If you have a friend or family member who's graduating, that's super exciting. It's crazy to think that in August I will have been out of college for 2 years. That is very crazy. Time flies. Time flies. But I'm very happy where I am right now. So it's all good. I keep yawning. And I know it's because probably because I woke up really early and it's like not even 10:30 yet. And I'm like, it's bedtime. But you don't need to know that because that's not relevant to the podcast. And this is a podcast about uplifting people and not being like, I'm so tired. Anyway, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to inform you guys about. I don't think so. So let's start to wrap up this podcast, shall we? I will try to include all the links to the things that I've talked about in the show notes. If you're on my blog, they'll be down below, or if you are on YouTube, the link to my blog will be down below. All my various show notes, or not show notes, all my various social medias will be linked everywhere. There's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Ravelry. I'm most active on Instagram for sure. I post pictures there, I comment, I like, I do all the things because I love Instagram and I love pretty pictures of yarn, and I like sharing my own pictures of pretty yarn. So if you are into that, there's also a lot of pictures of my cat. So if you like cat pictures, I recommend you going and following me, just because who doesn't love a good cat picture, especially if it's an orange cat picture. I just love a good orange cat picture. I love a picture of my cat. This is getting a little rambly, I apologize. So yes, again, I do apologize for last week's inconveniences and malfunctions with the podcast. Thank you for letting me know again. Thank you for being patient and just putting up with the overexposure. Hopefully this week will not be a problem. I really, really hope it won't be a problem, because if it is, this will be a big, big bummer. We'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully. Also, we are currently having major internet problems. We've been without internet for all of yesterday and half of today, which I realize is really not that big of a deal. But it's hard to do things like upload a podcast. So if we're still without internet for whatever reason, hopefully you will see it eventually. But if you're not watching this, if it was not uploaded on Saturday when it normally is, I do apologize. We can't help the internet problems, but hopefully it'll all be fixed. So if you're watching this on Saturday, yay, the internet got fixed. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend. I hope you continue to have a wonderful weekend. If you have crafty plans, I hope they're successful. Maybe you're going to a graduation as well, and maybe you are bringing knitting to do while you sit through the ceremony, because I'll be doing that. So that is super exciting. Yay, yay, yay. This has been a very knit heavy, craft heavy episode, and again, that is super awesome, and again, it's long, and yay, this is so wonderful. I love having content that I can share with you guys, and I'm super excited about, and I don't have tales of knitting woe of frogging entire sweaters, even though it's something to talk about, which is nice, but I'd rather talk about happy finishing sweaters than frogging sweaters, because that's just sad. On that note, hopefully next week I will have more progress on all the things to show you guys. Maybe finished objects, I don't know. That would be amazing. Who knows? See, I don't know, because like I have a busy week, but there are also lots of options to knit. So it could go either way. It could be like I have no time for knitting, or all this time is just like good knitting time. So we'll see. I also am getting ready to sneeze again, so it is a skill to finish your sentence before sneezing, so in order you don't have to re-film yourself saying what you just said. Skills of a podcaster, things you can put on your resume. Not really, but it's just kind of funny to think about. Anyway, on that note, I guess that is all that I have for you guys this week. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye!